It's gone.
You both know what's at stake here.
There isn't much road left.
Take the bloody shot. What do you say about a man like that?
3 months ago, you lost the drive containing the identity of every agent embedded in terrorist organizations across the globe.
007 reporting for duty.
Where the hell have you been?
Enjoying death.
The name's Bond. Nigel Bond.
Welcome to our latest edition of Break Off. We're in the players' room where the friends and family come to chill out whilst their loved ones are out there on the big stage. Hard to believe we've been here in York for 10 days now, and by the end of tonight we will at last complete the lineup for the final 8, the quarter-finals here at the Coral UK Championship. Now, we've normally got Ivan Hershowitz with us from the press office, but we've got snooker's number one, Andy Dillon from The Sun. Andy, let's talk first of all about Judd Trump against Rod Lawler. It was a slower match than we perhaps would normally expect to see from Judd Trump, but he had to show maturity and grind it out 6-3. What's your assessment of Trump's victory?
I think Trump summed it up himself in the press conference afterwards, Rob, when he said he was struggling to stay awake after only having 10 hours sleep last night, and I think he spoke for a lot of us, didn't he? At times it was drudgery. It was, it's what it is. It's kind of like, you could compare it to football and say that it was like, Route 1 football. It was Route 1 snooker, really. But that's the game he plays. And Judd, very diplomatic and very sporting, refused to condemn him because he said that's the way he plays, and it's up to me to get round that. And any sporting team, any sportsman will tell you that that's what you have to do. And it's no good moaning about the way the other guy plays. You get on with it. And you go for it, and if you can't play your own style, you have to be a little bit adaptable. And most of all, you have to be in snooker, I would have thought, very patient, because there are players out there who would have got very frustrated with that, and it would have affected their game. But if Judd's growing up a little bit and learning how to deal with it, all the better for it.
Well, there was certainly a maturity to that performance from Judd Trump, and he was delighted to come through the encounter when we caught up with him at the press conference after the match. Is that a maturity that you've added to your game, that you don't allow yourself to get frustrated if you're up against someone who doesn't play in the same style as you?
Yeah, it wasn't just that today. I didn't play my best compared to my first couple of games, so you've just got to forget what's going on out there and try your best every single frame. And today I was trying my best, even though it wasn't quite going how I wanted it to go. You've just got to stay patient and wait for your chances.
Well, Trump against Lawler finished a little sooner than Marco Fu against Shaun Murphy. An unbelievable match. Remember, they went all the way to a 10-9 thriller in the final of the 2008 UK Championship. On that occasion, it was Murphy who won the decider. This time round, Marco Fu. A real moment of drama out there on centre stage this afternoon, Andy.
Yeah, interesting that, first of all, just following on from the first match with Judd, that they finished only just before them, but they played 9 frames and they went the full distance, the full 11 rounds. It was the final frame was amazing, with Murphy there snookering himself as he was trying to get in for the colours, and then Fu cleaning up dramatically as he did. And again, we've seen it. I love the way these guys speak afterwards. And Murphy never holds back, does he? He's so outspoken. No. And we at The Sun, we don't normally encourage that kind of stuff, but we love a colourful quote. Murphy's had a real go about the conditions on the tables, the conditions of the balls and that sort of thing. And fantastic when he said, I hold World Snooker directly responsible, because, you don't want your sportsmen to hold back and, and just accept defeat. If they think something's wrong, come out and say it. Fantastic end to the match. Fu cleaned up. I mean, that took nerve as well because it was so nip and tuck. He only won it by 12 points, I think, the final frame. So, he had to stay cool for that. And then he brought his little girl into the press conference afterwards, and she was, causing a few smiles and a few laughs. So, it was kind of two contrasting matches there today, wasn't it?
It certainly was, and Marco Fu, one of the nicest guys off the table as well as on it, and he was typically gracious and modest when he spoke after his press conference. Is it nice now to have your daughter with you at tournaments? Does it give you a little bit of an added buzz? She's maybe not quite old enough yet to go and sit in the arena, but she certainly enjoys wandering around and getting involved in the atmosphere and the whole snooker occasion.
Yeah, I think it's just, it's very nice. I think sometimes winning and losing doesn't mean so much now because when you finish a match, you see them, and that's the best feeling. So, it's always nice to have them with me, like in one of the main venues in the UK, because I can't really bring them to overseas tournaments. So obviously the UK tournaments, especially this one in York, the UK Championships, it's very nice to have them here with me.
So Marco Fu safely into the quarterfinals. He'll play either Stephen Maguire or David Morris, the Irish giant killer. Can he go on yet another roll? Right, we like our social media here at Breakoff, and here's a guy you'll definitely want to hear from.
La 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 la.
So Twitter takeover today is with the legendary Steve Davis. Steve, I haven't set these questions, but some of them are funny and some of them are more interesting than others.
Okay.
So William Smith says, Nugget, is the game healthier now than it was in the 80s?
It certainly is healthier now than it was in the 80s, and I don't say that from a UK perspective, I say that from a worldwide perspective. You're never going to be able to turn the clock back to what happened in the 80s to snooker in the UK. But worldwide, we've got more people watching than ever before, looking at the bigger picture. Certainly with China's exposure to the game, it's in brilliant condition to move on.
Ewan Core says, who was the most difficult opponent you ever faced?
Most difficult opponent I've ever faced? Obviously there were some that were quite tough, in the safety department, but the hardest player I ever faced, I think, would have to be Stephen Hendry, because he basically slaughtered me for so long. So he was a problem for me, but so many over the years, and you'd have to look at all of the modern day players and say, you don't get much chance against any of them these days.
Could Ronnie beat Ray Reardon's record of being the oldest world champion?
Firstly, obviously as a BBC presenter and somebody who should know these facts, how old was Ray Reardon when he won the world championship? Do we know?
I knew you were going to ask.
Do we know? That. He was 46. He was 46. We're getting told. If anybody can possibly beat that record in the modern day game, Ronnie O'Sullivan is the only one. But it's how long he maintains focus. I do think that Ronnie O'Sullivan's going to be the first player to really have a genuine chance of being in at the sharp end of the game into his 40s. Most players have faltered around the 40 mark. So, I think he's best placed, but it's down to Ronnie to some degree.
Right, John McNeil says, do you still play with the same cue that you had when you were in your pomp?
Yes, I do play with the same cue. Yes, it went under some alterations halfway through my pomp by John Parris, who chopped it in half when a bit of it broke. But I have tried other cues. I've won events with two other cues, both made by John. But somewhere down the line, my old cue was sitting in a drawer, and I'd run out of ideas practice-wise, and I thought, you know what, we might as well finish off our career together. So I grabbed it out of the cue case and said, hello, how are you doing? And I started hitting balls, and we bonded again.
I remember one of my first years on the snooker tour, the fire alarm went off in Glasgow ahead of one of the Grand Prix. Most people came out basically in their pants or clutching a pint if they were still in the bar. You came down immaculately dressed with your cue.
I don't think immaculately dressed. I think pyjamas, but my cue was always the first consideration. When the fire alarm goes, grab your cue, because you can always you cover up your embarrassment, and you can always buy new clothes.
Well, although at this year's championship you may have heard us talk about how you can't take any result for granted, well, you really can't, judging by the number of tense 6-5s we've already enjoyed. Graham Dott against Neil Robertson. We've had Marco Fu against Shaun Murphy today. It's about time we got bang up to date with the odds for this year's Coral UK Championship.
Well, what a tournament we've had, Rob. We've had so many changes to the outright betting. James Cahill, of course, knocked out Ding, who plenty of people would have had backed. The Irishman, David Morris knocked out Selby. A lot of people were on him. So will we have more upsets? Well, as you'd expect, Ronnie O'Sullivan is, of course, the clear favourite still. Every man and his dog has backed O'Sullivan to win this. He's 11-8. But Judd Trump is now 5-2 second favourite after he just beat Rod Lawler there, as we've seen this afternoon. A lot of people will start to back him after that defeat. He did say he wasn't 100% because he didn't get his 10 hours sleep. I don't know how many hours you get a night, Rob. But
certainly not 10 with an 11-month-old son.
I'll be good to get half of that. So if he gets 12 hours sleep, his odds may shorten. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, that just about wraps up this edition of Break Off. You may have heard me say a few times that there's incredible talent here in the Barbican, and that doesn't just come from the players. After we finished filming yesterday, we left our cameras on, and there was a man cleaning up in the arena. He's here for a week, by the name of Michael Rice. Now, he didn't win X Factor, but if you've watched the show, you'll have realised just how good this guy's voice really is. Serious power booming through the Barbican will leave you with some of his dulcet tones, and surely he's got a big, bright future ahead of him. Good night.
As I lay me down, heaven, hear me now. I am lost without a cause. After giving him my all, winter storms have come, and darkened my sun. After all that I've been through, who on earth can I turn to? I look to you. I look to you. After all my strength is gone, in you I can be strong. I look to you. I look to you. And when melodies are gone, in you I hear a song. I look to you. After lose my breath, there's no more fighting left. Cease to rise no more. Searching for that open door. And every road that I'm taking led to my regret. But I don't know if I'm gonna make it. Nothing to do but leave my head. I look to you. Hey, yeah, yeah. I look to you. After all my strength is gone, in you I can be strong. I look to you. Hey, yeah, yeah. I look to you. And when melodies are gone, in you I hear a song. I look to you. I look to